Welcome to Vintage Radio Cafe, your #1 channel for relaxing vintage audio restoration. If you like watching an idiot wielding a soldering iron, you've come to the right place. Watch Ray's attempts to fix wonderful forgotten radios from another era, way before transistors. Sometimes he even gets them working again. What could go wrong, right?
Okay guys, so very quickly, I just have to show you this. When I took the chassis out, I inspected the inside of the cabinet as much as I could. And as I was editing some video today, I just spotted a problem with the speaker. I don't know if you'll be able to see this. At a certain angle, you almost don't see it. But when you see that rip, I didn't pick it up. I only saw that in a video, one of the part of the footage I did earlier. So yeah, this has got to be fixed. I don't see any tears anywhere else all around, as far as I can tell. Hard to see because I can't take that speaker out, but this one is major. So I don't know, it's about 3.5 inches wide. So I'm going to use some some tea bag material there, and probably rubber. I have rubber cement. I have glue for speakers, for the surrounds, but I think it's going to be better with the liquid tape this time because it'll be more flexible. It'll remain soft all the time. So yeah, let me just do this and I'll be back. So I finished the repair on the tear on the speaker, and it doesn't look good, but it's because I used actual speaker repair glue instead of black liquid tape, which would have looked better. I think the result, the performance would have been comparable. It's just that my liquid tape is too dry. It doesn't spread anymore. So I use a tea bag, put a bunch of glue first on the cone, then I put the paper, and then I put some more glue. And from what I can tell, it moves all in one piece. So yeah, it should transmit the vibration correctly. Of course, I'll test this to be sure, but it's the best I can do under the circumstances. I said this before. Those tabs are heavy metal. I can't unfold this, and it's squeezed in so tightly. There's no way I can remove this. Here I'm just over the plastic display. It's too risky to scratch it or to break it, and so I did everything in situ. Didn't have much choice. It doesn't happen too often where there's a problem I can't solve, but yeah, there's a first for everything. You see the new antenna, the new FM antenna. For those wondering if it's going to cause a problem because I left the other one underneath, well, I don't believe so, because it's 1/2 inch wider. So on each side, it's directly stuck to the plastic. So it should hold. It should be okay. Doesn't look as bad as the old one. I think it looks much better, much cleaner. And since I applied the vinyl protector all over, it should not attract dust as much in the future. So yeah, there you have it. Ready to move on to another problem. Take care. Okay, folks. So after fixing the speaker, the tear in the speaker, well, I just had to test it, right? But I couldn't test it properly before I remounted everything on the dial plate, namely the those lamps, the pilot lamps. And yeah, it was a good opportunity to see if my contraption was going to work. And it seems to work okay. Well, at least it's holding up. The vellum paper is just tight enough so it won't break. But it's not moving, so it's pretty firm in place. The both tuning dial, tuning pointers are moving freely. They're not touching. The pilot lamps are clearing the paper. So yeah, gonna test the speaker, and I figured might as well hook up the multimeter to see the voltage, if the rectifier is anywhere close to what it should be. Looking at the schematic, we're going to be expecting 29 volts at 120 mains coming in. So let's try that, but I'll install you guys on the tripod. Yeah, it's going to be safer for me. So okay guys, I hope you're comfortable on the tripod now. You should see a stable image. So let's try this. So we're aiming for 29 volts DC coming out of the rectifier on 120 coming in. And okay, I'm a little bit high on the voltage. Let's go just 120. Make sure. Yeah. So 28.6. Yeah. Not worth touching the rectifier. Let's see if the speaker works.
C'est extraordinaire, c'est extraordinaire. D'abord, on se pose la question, est-ce que les facultés psy, elles existent? Encore une fois, on a des données statistiques, mais on n'a pas de preuves scientifiques. Mais si on accepte que ça existe, la perception extrasensorielle, pourquoi des gens semblent-t-il, ce voyant extraordinaire du projet Stargate, comment ces gens-là arrivent-ils à être mieux que les autres? Est-ce que c'est vraiment un don particulier qu'ils ont, ou est-ce que c'est un don que nous avons tous, mais que certains sont plus développés, sont plus artistiques dans ce niveau-là?
No bass.
Chanter, tout le monde peut chanter, mais certains vont mieux chanter que d'autres. Est-ce que tout le monde a ses habiletés psy, et seulement certaines personnes sont des virtuoses? Et l'expérience dont je te parle...
Volume. No sound at all at zero volume, which is good.
Ça a été mené par un groupe de chercheurs du Beecrest Health Science. C'était une expérience qui visait la parapsychologie, bien sûr. Wow. Et ce qu'on a fait, c'est qu'on a pris...
okay, it's pretty conclusive. The speaker works great. Now, the power consumption. It says approximately 40 watts, and I'm at, I don't know if you can see it. Let me go a little bit higher. Yeah, I'm at 31 watts, which they say 40, but for a 50 hertz current coming in. So I'm not sure to what extent it would vary the power consumption on a 60 hertz current mains coming in here. I don't know. Either the difference is explainable by that, or it's just that the electrolytics, need to be changed, which wouldn't surprise me. Does the consumption change with the volume?
Si on disait aux gens, concentrez-vous sur le 1, il faut influencer le 1, mais effectivement, lorsqu'ils étaient stimulés à cette partie-là du cerveau, le nombre...
Not really. But then again, we're not working with vacuum tubes here. It's just transistors, so it's not the same power draw. I mean, come on, rectifier here, it's cute, it's little, but 28.5 volts. We're really not in high voltage. So, okay, so far so good. That's what I wanted to test. I'm going to put the radio inside of the chassis without connecting, without soldering the speakers, just because I need a place to store it safely. I'll put its backboard on until I get the transistors. I know I keep talking about that, but I really have to stick to my plan. So if anything stops working, well, I'll know it was because I was working in the AM section. I won't have to troubleshoot the whole radio. See my point? So I'll come back when I have the parts to finish this. But yeah, it's looking good so far. Everything's working except the AM band, which also means the short waves. But hopefully it's going to be 1 or 2 transistors. But we'll see. Catch you later. Okay, guys. This you should find interesting. I started testing the radio to see if everything was working and if my repairs on the speakers was okay. And it was. And I let the radio run for, I don't know, 15-20 minutes. And when I came back to lower the volume, I got a shock. A little tiny shock, which I assume was when I touched the volume pot knob, which I assume was only static. So I lowered the volume, let it run for another 5-10 minutes. I come back again, and sure enough, as soon as I touch the volume pot, this one, I get a tiny shock. I can feel it, not really static, not as sharp as a static discharge, but I could feel it, and there was a loud pop in the speaker. So there was something wrong. I knew there was something wrong. So I thought about this, and I found it very odd that me touching a plastic knob would make such a difference, you know, and cause it the issue. So took the radio apart again, and I inspected the knobs first, and sure enough, although they are plastic, well, look at this. They have a metal core. So that's one source of connectivity. And let me get closer. I'll show you what the real issue is. Okay, here's the thing. This is the assembly for the bass, treble, and volume pot. Okay, and they're all connected to this PC board, and this PC board is on a metal part of the chassis. And what I can see from the schematic is that the chassis itself has a negative 10 volt potential, and this potential is transferred to this board. So what the way they went about that, and to get rid of that 10 volt and to bleed it off, was just to put a screw and this rod here that goes to nothing. So instead of putting a resistor, I guess they just put a wire, and this screw is not connected to anything. There's no track to any part of the circuit. So it's really just to make contact with the with this metal part of the chassis, the secondary chassis, if you will, and to bleed it off. But the way they did it, instead of putting a wire that would dangle and move, they put a stiffer rod, and they just sort of laced it like that. That's a great idea, but it was still making contact. So the way they went about that, well, remember this little guy that we found in the chassis when we removed it from the cabinet? Yeah. Well, when I pulled the chassis out, it was like this, just in front of this whole array here. And I assumed, and that's a lesson here, never assume anything in electronics, but I assume it was going on top of an array of resistors, or rather capacitors somewhere. But yeah, looking more closely at it, okay, let's try to focus here. See the bend it has here? Well, let me show you why it is. They put it like this. They just fished it on that wire, and this is where it went to prevent the wire from touching those two pots. Yeah, great temporary solution, because it's not a tube, so it's open on one side. So even if I try to put it back on, I mean, it's loose as hell. With heat over time, it doesn't hold anymore. It's completely loose. Doesn't hold at all. So what I'm going to do is use some heat shrink. Yeah, I'm going to put, I don't have a long enough one. Yeah, so I'll put one here and one here. Doesn't matter if there's exposed wire, as long as there's no contact here and on the other side. So let me do this and we'll test it after.
La direction générale de la salle.
Okay, guys, I'm going to let it run for, I don't know, 5-10 minutes, and I'll come back, and I'll see if I'm still getting a pop and a shock. It takes at least 5 minutes to build up the initial charge. After that, it comes back quicker, but yeah. So I'll be back in, let's say 10 minutes to make sure. Okay, it's been 10 minutes. Let's see when I touch the volume pot if anything happens. Okay, nothing happened, so I think this solved the problem. Was stupid, right? Little tiny part there that you don't know what it's for at first. But hey, don't assume anything in electronics. This little guy. Okay. Okay, guys, so it's the next day, and yeah, I'll try to give you a roundup update, if you will, of what I did yesterday. So yesterday I got the transistor in the mail. I was all pumped up, thinking I would fix the AM quickly just by changing one transistor. And I set up, I did a detailed video on how to do it. And when I turned the radio on, not only did I not get the AM back, but I lost like 70% of the FM. The FM was weak, wasn't working, almost not working anymore. So yeah, I put the old one back in, and I went back to where I was before, a working FM, a non-working AM. So I took a look at the schematic, and I tried to make sense of where the said transistor was located. And no matter how I looked at it, it was on the FM side of things, connected, if you will, on the FM switch, the wafer switch there. So I couldn't, for the love of me, find a trace that would go to the AM side, the AM switch. So today I started my day by looking for the right schematic, because I was working with the 1691 schematic, which is the original German model, not the export one that I have here, the 5691. Sure enough, I did find it, and I found some differences. Namely, they don't have two short waves. They have a short and a long wave, and instead of putting the AM here, they put the AM there, long wave. It's a different arrangement, but still the FM is there and the transistor is on that line, and to me it made no sense. So I decided this morning I was just going to recap as much as I could of the board, and in hopes that I would hit the right capacitor that wasn't working. So I made a list looking at the schematics of what I believe were the capacitors in line with the AM section. So I started well, actually the first thing I did was to replace the big filter cap, the main filter cap. Then on the board there was one electrolytic that was supposed to be 250, it was at 5, so that had to go. This one was supposed to be at 2500, and it was at 31, so it had to go also. This little guy, it was a bit off. I think it was a 6800 nanofarad, and I think it was a 67 or something. And after that, I continued removing capacitors and checking them. I took 3 out of 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. And the first 3 I removed and checked. They were absolutely perfect. One was indicated at 2.5% tolerance, and it was within that. So I said, no way, I'm going to try to find something that's going to be that close. So I put it back in, and then I started thinking, yeah, I'm not going about this the right way. Since it's not the transistor, it didn't seem to be the capacitors, it has to be something else. And yeah, like it's often the case, if it wasn't any of that, it was just the switches. The switches were dirty beyond belief. I mean, I did clean the caps on top of the wafer switches, but I didn't open them up and clean them. Why didn't I do it at first? Well, you rarely start by cleaning your switches. Start by recapping and checking your power supply first, and your rectifier and all that stuff, and then if you still have issues, you finish with your switches. At least that's the way I do it. And since the FM was working, well, at first thought, the first idea I had, well, if the FM is working, the other one should be working too. So I wasn't thinking about the switches anymore. But at that point, after a couple of days trying to fix the AM, I decided, well, let's have a look at that. So that's the first one I did today, and I'm not kidding you, with the ferrite antenna in the way and all those coils, the inductors. It took me 2 hours. And then the AM started working again. Let me show you.
Every Sunday at noon, right after the trivia show. Join Robin, Fred, and Martin, and LJ along with their special guests as they demystify the worlds of real estate and mortgages. Under one roof, MTL. Brought to you by Fred and Martin Mortgages and LJ Realties. Exclusively.
Okay, folks, so good morning. It's the next day. As you may recall, yesterday I cleaned one of the wafer switches, and today I'm just about to start on the 4 remaining ones. And yeah, I thought it would be worth doing a video, if I can, of how this process works. So the first thing we're going to do is remove one of the plastic caps. I already unscrewed the ferrite antenna that was hooked here, so I have a little bit more room. Keyword here is a little bit. So this is the guy we're going to do. So we're at the back of the radio, so this means it's the contact switch to the far left. So that would be the phono. So I'm trying to show you is the action of the wafer switch. See how it comes out like that? Well, the wafer here is a hard cardboard. I don't think it's phenolic material. The contacts are mounted on it, and they just slide in those little contacts there you see on the side. All those sticking out. Okay, they rub on each side of the contacts, and or the contacts rub on those in the middle, and they're all soldered to the chassis at the bottom. So there's I don't know, 15, 20 little tabs there, metal tabs that are soldered to the bottom. So there's a lot of soldering joints at the bottom. It's pretty solid, but you still have to be very careful. So first things first, those little tabs, let's call them like that. There's it's one assembly with two little tabs at each end of the one at this end, one on this end. Okay, what they do is it's just inserted by pressure, and those guys, they just flex into place, so that latches them. See how they flex? But what they did in factory, I don't know, they probably took a screwdriver and just twisted them so the tabs would be bent on one side and on the other side, so they wouldn't come out. I think it's way overkill, but that's the way they did it. So the trick is to be able at the same time to squeeze those and lift up the plastic casing without breaking anything. See, it's started now. So should pop. I think this one is loose. Now I'll try to do the back one and pop it out. But you can also use one of those component puller. I could always use this model and grab the ends instead of the sides. So let's say wide. Maybe I'll be able to grab both sides. There you go. So the worst part is done. Here's the cap. You can see there's a big wax stain here, which is probably a drip from when they filled the those coils, those inductors, with wax. And removing the wafer is usually not a problem. So let's make sure it's not engaged. And they should just pull out. There you go. As you can see, look at this part where the contact rubs on it. It's pretty dark. Look at this guy. Almost nothing left there. Sorry. This one. Yeah. They're all numbered. Different numbers, so we know where they go. So this is number 62. I think there's two identical. 62, there's a 63 and a 67, if I remember correctly. So, okay. Now let's look at the... well, let's dispose of this safely. We'll clean it after. Okay. Don't crush them. Don't scratch them. And yeah, I don't know if you'll be able to see, but you see how black this first series is? I mean, it's pitch black. Those a little bit better in the center, then they become black again here. But the important parts are those, the tips. Just below the tip, that's where the angle is made, and that's the part that rubs on the wafer, on the contact. So this has to be cleaned. And yeah, it's not that important you do the sides, but I always do. And yeah, I'll show you how I start. Before I use any liquid, I start with I don't see it much here, but it's really a just sandpaper, but it's the finest that I got. It's the grit is P2000, yeah, 2000, and it's wet and dry, so it's waterproof. So you just bend it in half. Okay, and the idea is to insert this right in the middle. See if I can do this here. There we go. Okay, and then you start rubbing. Let's push it in, if we can, all the way back. Okay. You can move it to the side a little bit, so you get the top angle. So you see what's left on the sandpaper? That's the grime, that's dust, that's tarnish. Because you have to remember, those contacts are silver plated, and silver, just like your silverware in the house, will tarnish over time. Just with the oxygen in the air and time. Yeah. So I'm gonna do it again. Second time. Let's fold it. as thinly as we can. Reinsert it from the top, centered as we can. There you go, now you feel it. Just have to cut your paper to have enough room to grab it with something. I'm using those tweezers. You see how delicate work it is? So now I'm going to do another pass with one that I will flood with the oxide. Hence why we use wet and dry sandpaper. So a little bit of the oxide. Yeah, both sides are wet. Make sure they are. Do the same thing. This will, yeah, clean a little bit better, but the idea is to pick up all the crud that's left there, the dust and all that, with the wet. Yeah. Same deal. I'm gonna do this. See, there's still some left. Yeah, we can do it a third time. Same deal, but with a dry one this time. I'm just showing you my method. I'm not saying it's the right way, the best way. That's how I do it. As you feel it going in, another time. So I'm starting to see some of the metal. I believe the tips are clean enough. Let's try to see. Yeah, you see how shiny they are? Now, at least where it's important. See those? Yeah, all back to metal. So, what do I do next? Well, I start working with, I left them far. I start working with Q-tips. And I try to clean the exterior, so get a bunch ready. Put some deoxit in a cup or something. Yeah. And then we start to do the rest. The exterior as best as we can, but you're not going to believe this. Get my point? So this alone can take, I don't know, an hour, half an hour. Try to rub the exterior, get rid of the soot, because it's almost soot at this point, so it doesn't go back with movement on the contacts. Gotta be careful not to bend them, but still, it's a rubbing, it's not a massage. As I'm not kidding. So once I cleaned them, you know, outside, and they look better and you feel comfortable, I do one last pass with pipe cleaners. Those, well, I cut one to size, and those are synthetic, so they're not as good as cotton, but they're not as stiff. I mean, they will insert themselves more easily inside. And I like to do a first pass with one wet one, the deoxit one on it. Okay, just a little. Try to remove any grime that would still be there. So same deal. Just have to insert it. So you're working at the bottom here, and you make your way up. Bring it up. Look what's left. So then you can either use another wet one or just a dry one. So you cut it, insert it the same way, do a couple of passes like that. It will dry up the track, the bottom of the track, and make your way up. Much better. Let's do it the last time with a dry one, and this should be done. I'll use a full length one. You see what I'm doing here? Start at the bottom, make your way up. So you bring everything out. Yeah, it's almost perfectly clean. Let's take the other side. Clean side, do a last pass, and this track will be done. Okay, if you have any splashing on this side, what I like to use is those guys, gun cleaning patches, 1-inch square. I just fold it, put it on my trusty, yeah, and I just go whatever works behind on the side of the tracks there. Try to pick up whatever drip. If I don't have the room, I don't have the room. It's okay, it's not dramatic. It's deoxit. Okay, let's clean the wafer now. Okay, I'm sorry. I started filming without turning the camera on. What I was going to say, or what I said, is you start with warm water and soap. Don't waste your deoxit on the wafers. So I already cleaned this guy, but yeah, do I have the no. Anyways, you start with just warm water and dish soap. Okay, I already did it. It was really black, trust me. So it's already better, much better already. Those numbers you try to keep. Don't rub until they disappear. You want to know what the numbers are. You could rinse it with water if you want. Well, since I'm going to flood it with the WD-40, I just dried them. Okay. Then WD-40 again. With a cotton swab. All over the contacts. It won't be perfect, but it'll be much better, trust me. I mean, still, after a wash, that's what the deoxit removes. So this contact was in dire need of some attention. Is that how you say it? Dire need? Take the excess off. And reinsert it. Just go wide because you're going to see my hands. So you have to grab to the railing at the back. Align it. Make sure you're not bending. You're really in the center. Make sure you really grab to the... There you go. You feel it when you're inside. Test it. Works great. Now let's clean the... just the cover, because it's very dirty inside. Same deal, soap and water. I'm sorry. I just want to be careful not to drip on the chassis. Dry it. Let's get rid of the water. Let's dry this as best as we can. Of course, it has to be dry, especially in the inside. Something like that. Doesn't have to be perfect. One thing that's bugging me is that wax drop here. Let's get rid of this. It doesn't have to be perfect, but so something like that. Okay, let me make some room. Now the hard part. Okay, remember those little tabs here at the end. Well, you know, we unbent them, but it's probably not perfect. If you see any shredding left from the pipe cleaner, remove them. Should have done this before. I'm going to try to put it on, but the first one I did couldn't align perfectly. It took me like 20 minutes. Get everything back in. Because usually you get one side in, but not the other. What do you know? This one worked the first time. Let's make sure it's solidly in place. Yes, it is. Just do one more time. There you go. That's how you clean a wafer switch. Yeah, let me do the rest of them. You can see even from through the plastic, you can see how better they are. Remember how black they were? This one I did yesterday. Then I'll have to do another one. Let's have a look if the other ones we can see how dark they are. It's hard to see, but I can tell you they are black. Yeah. This here, underneath there. I can tell it's really black. So I'm going to do all the rest of them. There's 3 left. And yeah, I'll come back when this is done. We're almost done now. Radio is almost finished.